Alright guys, I'm Sage Valentine, and right now I'm going to weigh in on the Monique and Netflix situation. Just to reiterate for those of you that are subscribers, I will be reviewing Celebrity Big Brother starting February 7th, and I will be reviewing the mid-season premiere of AMC's The Walking Dead Season 8.5. So, it is what it is, and let's get down to this video. Hope you're ready for it. Now, here goes nothing. Monique deserved more money than $500,000, and you're probably watching this and saying, you know what, Sage Valentine, how does that pertain to you? If you were in that situation, would you have taken the $500,000? If I was somebody who was an actress or a comedian, and this was my first offer, and I didn't know better, yeah, but if I was someone in Monique's situation who was highly decorated, as she said, and according to IMDb, she is telling the truth, someone who won an Oscar, someone who's been in the Hollywood for decades, I would be insulted just like she is. Quite a few people, some talking heads on TV said, you know, Monique needs to humble herself and apologize to Netflix. First of all, Netflix didn't call Monique in. Monique and her husband, Sydney, who's also her manager, they went to Netflix with an idea for Monique to have a comedy special. So, before Monique decided that she was going to step away from the table, she and her husband tried to negotiate to get more money than $500,000. In other words, I assume they sat in that room and said, you know what, if we accept this $500,000, can we negotiate for more? And Netflix was like, no. So off the top of her head, Monique says, well, you know what, Amy Schumer got $13 million, which was at first $11 million, but she decided that she deserved more, but she didn't deserve as much as Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. But she figured she deserved $2 million more. They gave her $2 million more. A lot of people online are saying, well, you know, Amy Schumer is the hot commodity right now. Amy Schumer's resume is this, and this. Meanwhile, when Monique tried to bring out her resume, they kind of looked at her like, well, you haven't been working on anything major in the past 10 years. So it might be more than 10 years, but I'm just saying a ballpark figure. And that was extremely insulting. Also, you got to take into account the fact that Dave Chappelle took a sabbatical from Hollywood for, what was it, 10 years, 11 years, and he finally popped up and got his special. I believe it was last year or early last year, and they gave him $19 million, something to that effect. And he hadn't done anything since then. And what I mean by since then, I'm saying since he left the Dave Chappelle show, we didn't see him at all. At all. So people seem to be very upset that Monique brought his name into the conversation along with Chris Rock and with Amy Schumer. But she mentioned Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock because she is a legend just like they're legends. And Amy Poehler is new because, not Amy Poehler, Lord, Amy Schumer is new. And I remember Amy Schumer from years ago on Comedy Central, probably as far back as like 2006 when she was a little bit thinner. And she used to be featured in those different roasts they used to have. I don't know if Comedy Central still has those roasts, but anyway. She would always come up and say something like really gross and disgusting. And I was just like, who is this chick? Like, ew, who is she? Never did I know that her star would rise like this high. But to put her against Monique and say that, you know, she deserves the $13 million, whereas Monique only deserves $500,000 is a little bit shady. And as a Netflix customer, at this point in time, my Netflix account already paid for itself. So there's nothing I can do about that. But I can sit back and think about this whole thing and say to myself, you know, should I keep Netflix? Or should I do to it what I do with Hulu when there's nothing that I want to watch on and just cancel it for a couple months or two? Because sometimes I have Netflix and there's really nothing on. Because when I got it back in 2014, there was a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I've watched as much as I'm going to watch on Netflix because some of these shows are kind of meh. And then the past 3 movies I've watched have been kind of... But it's sad that Monique went on her social media page and she tried to get black folks to boycott with her, and they were just like, I'm not boycotting. I'm not getting rid of Netflix. Why would I get rid of Netflix? I gotta watch this show and this show and this show and this show. I'm just like, you know, 15, 20 years ago, black folks would have been out there fussing and cussing for Monique. And I heard a lot of people say, well, you know, she's getting $500,000. I'm not getting $500,000, or she's getting all this money. What does that have to do with me? And here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Like I said, I'm not keeping you for very long. When I was a little kid, my mom told me stories about how when she started teaching, the teachers that came before her were out there on the front lines with the teachers that started with and a little bit after my mom started teaching. And whenever something wasn't going right, they would strike. See, the teachers can't really do that now because there's a whole bunch of regulations and stuff like that. But back then, they used to do it a lot. So as my mom reached the end of her tenure as a teacher, a new crop of educators came in. Quite a few people who went to school with me, and maybe some that are my cousin's age, because my cousin's like half a decade older than me. They came in, took one look at their paychecks, thought about how they get Saturdays, thought about how they get the weekends off and summers off and basically free health care, and we're just like, well, I'm not gonna strike. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm speaking in terms of my mom's school district, although you could apply this story to any school district. Talk to any teacher that has retired or any teacher that is on their way to retiring. They all feel the same way. Trust me, I've heard it. So with that said, if you keep sitting back and you keep ignoring what's going on, it is eventually going to touch you. If it's okay to pay somebody a certain amount of money, regardless of what field you're in, and pay another person even more than that, and you know you're worth more than what they offered you, you're going to be very upset. So how does this pertain to black people as a whole? It pertains to black people, Afro-Americans, Afro-Cubans. If you're black, you're black. It pertains to us because there's just this general apathy of not wanting to get away from the crowd, of wanting to think the same way that everybody else is thinking, instead of people coming out with real opinions. If you troll social media and you go through the different posts, you'll find some people who are for Monique and the majority is not. They're just like, she's stupid, she should humble herself, she should just be quiet. So if you're working in a field where you're offered, say, $25,000, and somebody younger comes in maybe a year or two after that and is offered $45,000, and you find out other people are making $65,000, you're going to start questioning things. You really are. It is what it is. And I think I'm disappointed because of the number of people who just want her just to shut up and be quiet because they don't want to hear anything else from her. But I don't think she's going to stop talking. I think she's going to continue talking, and she's going to fight until finally she gets what she wants. And people have said that she is difficult. But my thing is, I've been on this earth for how many years? There have been quite a few cisgender cisgendered white male actors and actresses who have been a trip and a half. And they have not gone through what Monique has gone through. They have not been blackballed, nothing. And it pains me to sit back and to listen to my fellow black people basically turn their backs on this woman, and it feels like she's trying to warn us. And nobody wants to listen. And you know, I wasn't even going to do this video. I was just going to let everybody else just weigh in, but I felt the need to say something because, quite honestly, there's an old saying, I'm just going to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly what it said, but those that ignore history are doomed to repeat it. So, like Monique said on Sway's show, if she had taken that $500,000, then when someone like Tiffany Haddish or the rest of the young actors, actresses, comedians come up, Monique would be used as an example for the rest of them, like, well, Monique took it, so I don't understand why you can't take it. The same could be said for any field. But this general apathy that's happening with black folks at this point, I don't know what to tell you. And there's so many freedom-fighting black people. There's so many freedom-fighting people in general that are just giving up because they're like, what is the purpose of coming on here and trying to convince people to wake up and open their eyes when they just want to be asleep? I don't know what else to tell you. And like I said before, I have nobody to answer to, so all of this is coming straight from my heart. Netflix was wrong. They should have given her at least $1 million. $500,000 is not enough. And Amy Schumer should not have gotten $13 million. Chris Rock got the right amount. Dave Chappelle's last special was, but then again, everything on Netflix right now has been kind of meh anyway, so it is what it is. But let me know what you think of the Monique situation and be nice, because if you're cussing and fussing on my video, if you're insulting me, trust and believe I am deleting your comment. It is what it is. But as long as nothing crazy happens in the next couple weeks, I will be back February 25th. In fact, no, let me scratch that. I will be back February 7th because Celebrity Big Brother is coming back and I will be reviewing that. So you all take care. I'm Sage Valentine signing off. Peace out, guys. Bye, guys. Love you all.